All right, welcome everyone to the University of Minnesota Ask a Gopher YouTube live event. My name is Allie Osterheis and I am an admissions counselor here at the University of Minnesota. I work specifically with students from Kansas and Missouri, actually, and I'm really excited to be here tonight. We have a panel of great students from all over the United States who are going to share a little bit about their student experiences as Gophers. I'm also a recent graduate too. I come from Wisconsin, so out of state, but not quite as far as you all here. And I studied psychology and Spanish here at the U. But we are here really to highlight all that the University of Minnesota could offer to you all viewers because every student's experience is a little bit different, and we'll get to know that here tonight. But just a little overview of the University of Minnesota itself. We are about 65% of in-state students, Minnesota residents, and then the rest of students are out-of-state and international students. So we have a pretty diverse campus, and we are the land grant research institution on the university, or in Minnesota, and that means about 95% of the research that happens in this state occurs right on this campus. We're actually number 8 in terms of the amount of funding we have for research that happens. So there's a lot going on here from like the invention of the pacemaker and the seatbelt. I'm sure some of you have used hopefully a seatbelt recently. And also the Honeycrisp apple, if you've gone to the grocery store, that was also developed right on our campus. So we have a lot going on here, and we're split into 7 different colleges, which we probably will touch on that as well. Our 7 colleges really make a very large campus. We're at about 32,000 undergraduates, make this huge campus start to feel smaller and smaller every day. And by the end, I know as a student, I couldn't go to class without seeing some people I knew, and it really starts to feel like home. And this campus experience, it's part of the Big Ten too. So we love to have rivalries with other states. I really liked going to football games. We have 23 different Division I sports to cheer on. And we actually did invent cheerleading as well. So we definitely know how to do pride and spirit right. We're definitely very proud to be Gophers. And this is not just, the Big Ten experience. It's also in this incredible location, which is the Twin Cities. So that's Minneapolis and St. Paul. We're kind of nestled right in the middle. And I like to describe it as this little bubble within the Twin Cities. We have this college campus, which is quite large, and then we're also part of this huge urban environment with so many opportunities. Not just career opportunities. We have 18 Fortune 500 companies to choose from that recruit students directly on campus. But it's also, probably you guys know this, it's pretty fun. We have 6 professional sports teams. We have a lot of different arts and culture to explore. And there's really like never a dull moment in the Twin Cities, I would say. And you're also part of this alumni network. So you guys are from different places in the United States, but we have alumni from across the world and some notable alumni too. But you're not just a Golden Gopher for the 4 years that you're here on campus, wherever you all choose to go after graduation. And I understand that's coming up pretty soon for some of you here. You are part of this network, and this is an experience that you're choosing for a lifetime, and so that can be really special. But for tonight, we are hearing from 3 phenomenal current U of M students about their own experiences on campus. And then we'll wrap up with a few reminders from me about the May 1st confirmation deadline, because that's fast approaching. So we'll hit on some important points there. But throughout this event, we are going to have a chat open. So you are invited to submit questions directly to us, and we will try to get to as many as we can during this live panel. And those that we aren't able to address on camera here, we'll definitely follow up with you in the near future too, just to make sure that you have all the information you need as you're making your college decision this month. And this video will also be recorded and sent out to all students. So if by chance you're watching this, but you want to watch it again, or, because we're great, if you want to watch it at home, have your parents watch it, you can definitely do that as well. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to our students. So first we have Anju from California. She's in the College of Liberal Arts, and she'll tell us a little bit more about that. We have Nora from Colorado and the College of Biological Sciences. And then last but not least, Jared from New Jersey. in CFANS, which is the College of Food, Agricultural, and Natural Resource Sciences. So if I could have all of you just kind of give us a brief introduction. What are you studying, first of all, and what led you to decide to study the major that you chose?
Yeah, so my major is math with a specialty in actuarial science. I guess I've always known I wanted to major in math just because it was a subject that I always excelled in over other subjects, and it just came very naturally to me. I started wanting to be an Algebra 2 teacher, and then I realized I wanted to use math to predict the future with some sort, so the insurance world is where I wanted to be, and that's why I chose actuarial science.
Awesome.
And I'm a genetics, cell biology, and development major and a statistics minor. And I chose to pursue that major because, well, my aunt has always worked in research, and I just love spending time in her lab. And for me, I just see it as a way to kind of discover the mysteries of the world and see what there is to see.
I'm a sustainable systems management major here. It's kind of a tricky major to describe, but really interested in the environment. I think climate change is the biggest issue of our generation. I want to find ways to tackle that. In my time here, I've become really passionate about renewable energy, so that's kind of what I'm tackling now as I start to look for jobs post grad. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into that major.
Great. And you all we have 2 seniors here, and then Jared, you're a junior as well. Another question off of that, a lot of students come into their university experience undecided too. Did you come in undecided, or did you kind of know what you wanted to study right away?
I came in declaring math as my major
Wow.
with the specialty of actuarial science. Yeah.
So you knew right off the bat.
I was like,
That's
I
great.
have a plan, I'm going with it. So.
Love it.
I mean, I definitely entered as like a biochemistry pre-major, but because you typically have the pre-major designation for like at least a year. But I switched to genetics because that's what I realized after a year of being here and doing research that's what I wanted to do.
I took AP Environmental Science, and that was my only really experience with sustainability and all that coming in. So I didn't come in technically undecided, but there was a wide world of sustainability that was coming in brand new too. So a lot of exploring in those first couple months.
That's great. So you guys are kind of all across the board in terms of being like, yes, this is what I want to do, to kind of exploring different options. And I would say, with 150 different majors on campus, that's definitely a possibility for a lot of students. If you don't know what you want to study at this point, I would say that's definitely okay because there are a lot of options open for you. And in terms of just kind of your academic life, you all have been here for a few semesters, definitely. Students are kind of wondering, what does your typical day look like? A day of class at the University of Minnesota. If you could kind of provide us an insight into your experience.
Do you want to start this time?
Sure. I need to be up early or else my day never starts. So I always have 8 a.m. classes, go to class, and then I'll go get some breakfast or lunch, depending when that class ends, and then I'll just kind of find a quiet spot and knock out some emails or do some homework, study for a test that's coming up, something like that. Then I'll have a couple more classes, and then around 3 o'clock, I'll go to work for a few hours, 3 hours a day usually, and then I'll go home, maybe work out, depends how I'm feeling that day, and then hang out with my friends, cook dinner, and then do homework and go to bed and do it again the next day.
I'd say mine really differs on the day. I kind of have like my Tuesday, Thursdays where I like purposely packed all my classes and my meetings and stuff. And then my Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays where I kind of get out there and spend the day in lab or meeting up with friends, maybe catching up where I need to. Well, there's always something out there to see. So I think it really, for me, it depends on the day.
Yeah, I feel like mine's like a combination of those two. Like, I am more of a morning person, so I like to do my own productive things in the morning. So like that's when I like to go for a run or like meal prep or just do laundry or any of that kind of stuff. And then I get more lazy around the afternoon, so that's when I like to have my classes, so it like forces me to do stuff. And then I like to come home, I'll probably do some homework, study. And if it's like more towards the end of the week, I like to hang out with my friends. So.
Awesome. And on that note, getting around campus has been a pretty large question as well, because it sounds like you all are kind of moving around campus throughout the day, doing your different things. Can you describe, what's your form of transportation around campus? And then also, would you recommend bringing a car?
I have never had a car here, just because I've never driven in the winter, so I feel like I would crash. But so I usually walk, even if it's like freezing. Like I like to get my steps in. So walking is my main mode of transportation.
I agree with that one. I'd say with the car, you're kind of limited in where you can go, since a lot of the best places to be on campus are kind of in the center. So walking is the way to go. If it's cold, there is a great tunnel system that you can use. And well, I also spend a lot of time in the St. Paul campus, and for that, I take the campus connector. There's a really good system, comes every 5 minutes. It's pretty nice.
I love biking everywhere, so campus has some really phenomenal bike lanes and a lot of different, really strategically placed bike racks. So it's pretty easy to be a cyclist on campus, and then I'll take the bus to St. Paul campus. And when it comes to a car on campus, I don't think you need one, just because the public transportation on campus and Minneapolis and St. Paul in the metro area is really phenomenal. If you want to get up north to go up to Duluth for the weekend, maybe then you might want to go get a car for that. But in my experience, I've been pretty happy with not having a car out here.
So it sounds like you definitely don't need a car.
Yeah, sure.
And I guess kind of related to that, you talked about, getting on public transit and being able to, really be a part of the Twin Cities. How has the Twin Cities played a part in your experience as a University of Minnesota student? Because I know they're kind of interwoven.
I think for me, I came from a smaller city in Colorado, so just living in a metropolitan area I thought was a lot of fun. What's really nice is also the metro transit, so the train system here is really nice, and it stops at all the major places you want to go, like Minnehaha Falls or Minneapolis, Target Field, those kinds of places. So I think just being able to see what Minnesota looks like through all seasons is something that I've really enjoyed.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm coming from, New York, New Jersey area. I needed that city vibe, that urban experience. So having Minneapolis right there has been so beneficial to my college experience. There's been plenty of nights where we're all just sitting on the couch. It's like 7 o'clock, and we see, oh, this guy's in town for this concert. We got to go. And we just jump on the light rail, and we're there in 15 minutes. So I've loved a big sports fan. So obviously just had the Final Four in town, and hockey games, baseball games. So I've loved having Minneapolis right there, and it's helped for job interviews and all that kind of stuff too. So.
Awesome. And I did have a question just come up from Flynn. Are there shuttles to the airport? Because I'm guessing a lot of you fly home.
You can take the light rail. You'd have to transfer to another light rail.
Yeah.
Also, like the
Super
blue
easy.
line, yeah.
It's not hard. It's not hard. U.S. Bank Stadium, 45 minutes. It's pretty doable. You can also call a Lyft, but it's light rail. It's nice. You get to see all the places.
The light rail goes right into the terminal as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So it's really smooth. It's really safe. I take the light rail every time I go to and from home, going to the airport and all that. So I would highly recommend the light rail system. It's a really beneficial way for out-of-state students to get to campus.
Definitely. I've taken the light rail, more than once, and I think it's like $2.50
Yep.
for a ticket.
Oh,
so cheap way to get to the airport too. But we've kind of expanded on Minneapolis and how that has played different ways a part in your experience. But what's like your favorite part of being just on campus? Like what kind of fun events have been your favorite that you've taken advantage of as a student?
I like homecoming. I think homecoming's super fun. I feel like a lot of alumni come, so my dad actually went to the U, so he's come up for homecoming and stuff, like for the football games, and just there's the concert too, so there's like a lot of like spirit around that time, and I love spirit, so definitely like homecoming.
Awesome.
I really enjoy seeing all the student group events. As a freshman, I remember my favorite time was Friday evenings, because that's when all the student groups decide to host their events, and you can kind of just pick a building and then go up and down the levels, and they'll all have free food and like lots of activities going on. So I think for me, it's just everything that the student groups had to show. That's what I liked.
I'm a big sports fan, so go for hockey games, go for football games. Baseball season started up, so just going and see any sporting event. We've got some pretty great teams out here. Women's volleyball, wrestling are national champions, so some pretty good programs to watch.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely took advantage of the football games, and volleyball has been really great this
Yeah.
past year. So it's pretty exciting stuff. So on this campus note, when you first joined campus, you weren't, as confident and comfortable as you are now. You were just coming into your first year, kind of probably a little bit nervous, especially out of state. How was that first year for you? How was that campus experience?
I mean, so
Okay.
I lived in Pio, which is coming back next
Pio?
year. Yeah, Pioneer Hall.
Okay.
It's under renovation right now, but it'll be back. And I actually had a single, even though like I applied to have a roommate, I was just too lazy to find one on Facebook. But then I got a single, and it was really awesome because every girl on my floor also happened to have a single, so we all could like hang out and be roommates with each other, but then also like have our own room to come back to, which I think was really helpful for me in becoming more confident with socializing, just because I could have my break to be by myself, but then as soon as I opened my door, there was just like people right there, so that was really helpful and nice.
Awesome.
I'd say I thought I enjoyed it a lot. I lived close to Longune, actually. I lived in Frontier, which is in the super block area with 4 dorms, central area. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I had 2 roommates actually. The first went to go off and study in Spain. The other came from like a different college, and I just getting to see all their different perspectives were fun. And I think my neighbor in the dorms is now my roommate in my apartment. So that was magical.
I lived on the other side of campus in Sanford Hall, and my roommate, it doesn't always work out like this, but me and my roommate became like best buds. And then a lot of people on our floor became really close and hung out a lot. So that was really helpful towards just, integrating me into the college life and being away from home. So I really enjoyed my first year on campus, and I'm still friends with a lot of people who I lived with and met just in those interactions in the residence halls.
So it sounds like the residence hall is pretty important in facilitating, that on-campus experience of like, okay, I fit in here, I have some friends, I can be successful for the rest of my time here. And we do have 9 different residence halls across our 3 different campuses. So you all were on our East Bank campus, which is kind of where most of the classes will be. But we also have our West Bank campus, which has a lot of our fine arts classes, our Carlson School of Management, the law school's over there, as well as some social science classes. And we have Middlebrook Hall over there. And then Bailey Hall over in St. Paul. St. Paul is quite a beautiful campus, actually. So I know you guys have probably all been there, but it's definitely a great place to be. And that is where a lot of our food and agricultural research goes on, and our vet school's over there too. So different places to be on campus, but it sounds like you all had a pretty great experience coming in. But another question is, acclimating to that college life is not completely, sunshine and roses every day. There are going to be some hard moments, and I experienced that as an incoming student as well. How was the orientation experience? That's like your first time you're on campus. Could any of you describe what your orientation, your overnight stay was like?
Yeah, so you kind of start off the day with a couple presentations, a couple meetings, some touring of your campus and your college, just kind of getting to know some people in your college, and then you'll get some free time. And I spent my time playing volleyball in one of the courtyards with people I was living with, and then we went back to one of the rooms we were staying in, and we all played cards. So it was a cool experience, and like you kind of pair up with the person you're living with for like orientation just to stick together, and then the next day you do a lot of class scheduling. So we picked our classes. That was a little bit like stressful, I'll definitely say, because you're just like and you have to figure out what's full, what's not full. They help you though. It's not as bad as I'm making it sound, but that was definitely my first experience with building my own schedule. And then it's only 2 days, so it's pretty quick, and it was a cool experience. I'm still buddies with the guy I lived with from orientation, so
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so orientation really is the first time you can start making your college friends, definitely.
Yeah.
And it happens over the summer. There are many different dates that you can have orientation, and there's also a parent orientation. So I don't know if any of your parents came to that as well, but some parents out there have some concerns. Maybe it's their first student going to college, so they can have their questions answered as well. And then by the end of orientation, you are registered for classes and ready to go when you come back on campus for Welcome Week. And Anju, you have a lot of experience with Welcome Week. Maybe you could highlight, or you could give us some of the highlights of Welcome Week and what it is, what it's all about.
Yeah, so I was a Welcome Week leader for all 3 years after freshman year. I absolutely love Welcome Week, again, because I love Spirit. So one of the events is Pride and Spirit. That event's super fun. My favorite is Convocation. That's where you sit in Mariucci and you sit by your college, and like every college has their own chants. Like CLA's is like CLA all the way. So like
Yeah.
all of those chants are like super fun to scream, and it just gives like you see every freshman like in one room for like probably the only time that you'll ever see them all, which is like crazy to see. There's so many of them, and just like to have like friendly rivalry within the college is super fun. There's also a day where the Mall of America shuts down, and then so only freshmen can go, and it's at night. That's another super fun event. There's also a day where you go to each of the campuses. So like if you don't know how to take like the connector or any of those modes of transportation, you'll be able to learn it that day. It's also a great way to meet friends, because the way that your welcome week groups are split up is by your dorm. So it's just like you'll be able to meet other people on your floor, and it's not just like your exact roommate. It's just like other people there too. And I made like tons of my friends through welcome week, and then I ended up living with one of my friends
Oh, wow.
the next year. Yeah, so it was super fun.
Awesome. So yeah, the purpose of Welcome Week, and that's the week before everyone else moves onto campus to start class, is really to help incoming students feel like they're Gophers and feel like they're equipped with the experiences and tools to really start being successful from day one on campus. And you know, they have the opportunity to even run throughout their class schedule and go to the buildings themselves, I think. So that's a really, you know, a great way to start your college experience. But I guess going into more academics, some students were wondering, how do you balance your social and academic life? Because, you know, academics can definitely be challenging. It sounds like some of you are in some pretty difficult majors, and you've made a lot of friends too. So how have you kind of done both of those things through college?
Well, I mean, when you come in, you actually have a lot more time than you think, I'd say. And while you have that time, I'd say explore what you can, see what you can handle, and kind of explore all the options you have, because I think as a freshman, you're really not tied down to anything heavy yet. So it's kind of a good time to kind of parse out what you want to do, and from then on, I think, well, you adjust over time. If that's what I've kind of figured out.
Yeah, I feel like if you're really struggling with like balancing the two, or you really think you might struggle, the best way is to do like the middle road, where you like form study groups with people you have in your classes, just because you'll make friends that way. Like I've met a lot of cool people through like being like, we should write this paper together, or we should like study for this test together. And then so it's like a balance of like being productive at doing your schoolwork with also getting to know new people. So.
Yeah, you just got to be honest with yourself. If you can't do homework at home or near your friends, because I mean, when you start living in dorms or houses or apartments, wherever, you're living with some of your best friends. So if you can't do homework in those kind of spaces, just be honest. Be like, I gotta go study, library, coffee shop, whatever it is, whatever works best for you. Find that right away, or you know, try and find that as soon as you can. And just use that to your advantage. And then understanding when you're stressed out, if you need to go work out or read a book or listen to music, just find those kind of things that are unique to you and make you, work at your highest efficiency. And eventually you'll get into a real groove, and semester will be over before you know it.
That's really good advice. That brings me to another question. Some favorite spots to hang out on campus. You know, whether it's a coffee shop or a favorite library. Do you all have, kind of like your place that you go and hang out on campus to get work done?
Yeah, actually, mine is my favorite place. I have two. I think my first one is Border Town. It's this nice little old-fashioned coffee shop. I think it's closer to Dinkytown. I'm trying to think of its location, but it's so adorable. It got that like old library feeling to it. It's got great drinks, and I think I've hosted a lot of meetings for my student groups there. I just think it's a nice, tranquil place. The other I'd say is the Physics and Nanotechnology building, just because it's so secluded and not many people know about it. And also it's made a lot of glass, so you can kind of just sit next to the window and see people walking by. I think those are my two favorites.
I was gonna say Border Town.
Border Town.
Border Town's such a great coffee shop.
So good.
I don't love libraries just because they're so quiet. So I like to have some white noise in the background, but I do love the architecture library on campus, because there's just this giant wall of, it's tinted sunlight. So it's really, they know what they're doing, those architects. So it's a really beautiful library with tons of natural light, and it's really calming to be in there. So Border Town when I need some white noise, and that library when I need to really focus.
I like Wilson Library. It's on West Bank. I think I just like it because there's like a lot of seats, and I hate going to a library and being like, oh gosh. I walked all the way over here and there's like nowhere to sit. But coffee shop wise, I like Purple Onion, like also because it's like big and a lot of seating. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, great. So it sounds like, yeah, but Border Town is definitely a good place to check out for any of you viewers here who have not been to campus. It's definitely one of our cutest coffee shops, I would say. But studying is obviously something that you're going to be doing a lot of in college, wherever you go and whatever you study. So diving into more the academic side of your experience, what have, some of your favorite classes been so far, and why have they like stood out as your favorites?
I took a Grand Challenge course. So a Grand Challenge course is a program we have at the university that takes problems, real world problems, and you more or less brainstorm within groups. Each one's structured a little bit differently, but with your teachers, with your class, with groups, on how to solve those problems. So my Grand Challenge course that I took was called Pathways to Renewable Energy, and we had a project assigned to us that the city of St. Paul had 20 buildings that they wanted to have assessed for solar. And we had a mentor from an industry professional mentor come and teach us how to do solar site assessments. And then we did that whole process, and we wrote up a whole report for them, did a whole presentation, and it was just really hands-on, and is one of the most impactful classes I've taken in my 3 years here. So I really, really like that course a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
I second on the Grand Challenge courses. Those are really good, and they span a wide variety of interests. The one that I took was, I think it's called Living a Good Life at the End of the World, Sustainability at the End of the Anthropocene. So it's definitely sustainability based, and what I enjoyed is that people from all over different majors come and go in these classes, so you're kind of away from your little bubble, that college bubble that you often get stuck in. And also, at least for me, it served as both like a liberal arts credit and also as an upper major elective for my genetics major. So that's something that I enjoyed about that. Also, directed research, because you get credits for doing research with a professor, and I really enjoyed that.
What research have you done?
So I work in a plant genomics lab, and my PI is named Dr. Jane Glazebrook. I think a lot of what I work with is kind of a model plant called Arabidopsis. It's a theocress. And I just love being able to wait.
All of us are lost.
I didn't follow.
Super nerdy, but I really like just being able to wake up in the morning and then head over to St. Paul and spend time with my plants, because I really like plants.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. We didn't want to leave you out of your favorite class, too.
I feel like one of my favorite classes was called Actuaries in Practice. So it's like pretty specific to my major, but I feel like a lot of other majors are like that. They have classes that help you prepare for what you want to do. So for this specific class, there were groups of actuaries that came in from different companies, and they were actually the ones teaching us the class, and we were given projects by them, and I learned a lot about Excel, which I think helped me with getting internships and jobs and stuff like that. So
Wow.
it very much prepared me for the real world.
Very career-focused
Yeah.
class. That's awesome. And I was just going to, give a little context with research, because that's a really cool opportunity that all students have available to them on campus. Just a little information about how research can look. It sounds like you're in a lab with a professor who
Yeah.
you're working for and doing this research. But a different pathway to get involved in research is called the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program. You guys have heard of that, obviously, yeah. And that is a program in which you submit a proposal to do your own research on campus. And then your faculty member kind of tags along with you and mentors you through the whole process. So, I've heard of multiple students who have been published in journals by the time they graduate from the University of Minnesota. So really, like, the sky's the limit. And it sounds like you're very passionate about your research, too. So that's really cool. And then you also talked, Anju, about how some classes really focused on more career preparation. That brings me to internships and things like that. Have any of you had internships during college so far?
Yeah, I interned at a solar company last summer, installing, doing a couple different things for them, and that was a really great experience that the university helped me find.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was able to intern actually back home in California this summer. I worked for the local government, and I was their finance intern. And I think, honestly, like a lot of the reason that they wanted to hire me was because of the skills that I learned in Excel through those classes. So it's very helpful.
Yeah. But I would definitely say internships are, important in the college experience and something that the University of Minnesota does very well at connecting students to. So like I mentioned at the very beginning, we have 18 Fortune 500 companies in our immediate vicinity. So these companies are recruiting University of Minnesota students, and sometimes they're even interviewing on campus. And I don't know if any of you have taken advantage of some resources in, like the college career centers, but I don't know if you have experiences with like resume prep or interview practicing.
Yeah, I made a resume and went to the career center and was just like, hey, is this good? And they were like, oh, it's good, not great. We're gonna fix it for you. And they revamped it, and I've gotten nothing but compliments on my resume ever since. So it's definitely a really beneficial source that students should take advantage of.
Amazing. So you definitely felt prepared.
Yes, very much so.
And I feel like a lot of the departments will email you if they see any like job postings. That's actually how I got my job for post-college. Like the statistics department emailed me about it and told me about who was hiring, and that was really helpful too.
Wow. Another question a lot of students have had, and something that, you definitely should be wondering about, is how has the University of Minnesota helped you with your post-grad plans? And, your plans for your future after college. Maybe we talked about this before this video, but what are you planning to do, and how has the U of M played an impact, or had an impact in that?
Well, I'm looking to kind of stay in academia, and I'm hoping to do maybe research or become a professor someday. And I thought what I really liked about how the U of M preps you is that there are a lot of people on campus with a wide variety of perspectives. I mean, just being able to go up to my professor, they're not as intimidating as they seem, and just going up and saying, hey, can you give me advice about maybe where can I look or what opportunities there are? I think just having that person there to act as a mentor and kind of give me ideas on where to go is very helpful, because I'm going to be taking a gap year, but I definitely know where I want to look in terms of maybe research opportunities or internships or whatnot.
Yeah, as I said, I would not have received this job if it wasn't for the U, because I don't think I would have found it any other way. And then the alumni connection is really strong here at the U, so even when I went to interview and stuff like that, there was always a person be like, I went to the U too, what was your experience like? I did this, and it was just awesome to have a more relaxed conversation about the U versus interview type stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As the junior here, trying to not think about post-grad too much yet. But the amount of different job opportunities that have come up through just in-class presentations, from professors saying, hey, I know this friend, they're going to present today, I got invited to a conference this weekend that's related to my major, and then hopefully some networking will happen there. But it's been really cool just having so much exposure to so many different career fields.
That's awesome. Another question too, you guys have, highlighted your relationships with professors multiple times. And some people wonder, as they're at a research university, what are your interactions like with faculty members? And it sounds like they've been able to help you out in different cases, but if you could just kind of give, a broad, generalization of what your experiences have been and interactions with professors.
Sure. I guess for me, when I think of my relationship with my professors, I'd say it's definitely a mix, but for the most part, I think it's been really nice. I have professors that I'm particularly close with, and a lot of them act like mentors to me. I just love being able to have these fun conversations with them, because I figure out they've been everywhere and they've probably seen a lot of things that I may never see, or I hope I can see. But so I think it's just important to kind of just go up and talk to them, because maybe see them during office hours, or if you get the chance, lunch with a professor. I know Anjun's done that.
Yeah, so I actually took my professor to lunch. The U has this opportunity where you and a group of students can take your professor to lunch, and the U will actually pay for it. You can only go to certain places, but it's still a free meal, and you get to interact with your professor on a more personal level. So I did that my freshman year to my Calc 2 professor, and it was really fun. I would recommend it. And I feel like it's just nice to know that your professor knows who you are if you are in a classroom where there's hundreds of students. So.
Yeah, when it comes to professors, you get out what you put into it. There's definitely been professors where I've gone to the very back of the classroom and just kind of put my hood up and just kept my head down. There's also professors who I've sat at the very front and asked questions and went to their office hours, and one of my favorite professors, whenever I write a paper, I'd go to his office hours afterwards and just kind of just debate with him and just talk to him and be like, hey, what did you think about that piece and that piece? Because he was currently writing a research paper when I was taking his class, and we kind of just spitballed about what he was writing about and his ideas and my ideas. So that was really cool. So if I didn't do that, if I didn't go kind of take some initiative, I wouldn't have got that experience. So if you like the professor, go talk to them. They're cool people. They're here for a reason. So
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. Another question, and something that maybe high school students are already thinking about possibly, is studying abroad. So about 35-40%, I believe, of students at the U of M do study abroad at some point during their college career. We have a very expansive learning abroad center with 300 programs to choose from in over 80 countries, including Antarctica, if that's a country. So if it's not cold enough here, you can go to Antarctica. But I know, Jared, you studied abroad recently.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about what your experience was?
yeah, so I went to Germany over winter break. The Institute on the Environment here has a program called the Climate Smart Municipalities, which is sister cities in Germany, Minnesota share a lot of information about how to be more sustainable. So through that program, we took a student delegation of 23 of us, and we went over to those cities in Germany and just kind of learned about their experience, how interactive they are with educating the youth, educating adults about sustainability. It had a whole business trip vibe to it, so it's not your European vacation sometimes, but it was fast-paced, it was informational. We were sitting in Parliament in Germany and some of those states and talking to people, talking to real people who impacted Germany's growth to become one of the most sustainable cities and countries in the world. So that was such a cool experience, and I've brought that back to Minnesota. We're hosting a documentary screening because someone made a documentary about the experience and it won an Emmy. This is a whole thing.
Whoa.
Wow.
So yeah, right.
All right.
So studying abroad is such a cool opportunity. I went for 2 weeks and I was really happy with it because I do love this campus. I love everyone here, so I didn't want to go for a whole semester. So there's that flexibility that if you don't have the time, or it just doesn't fit your schedule or something like that, you can go for 2 weeks in the winter break, summer break, something like that. So highly recommend it. Really easy process to get involved with, and I loved it.
Awesome. Wow, sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Another opportunity that a lot of students wonder about is getting involved in the community. And I understand most of you have done community service at some point. If any of you would like to share what kind of opportunities you've taken advantage of while you've been students.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of my volunteer experience has been through my sorority. We require like a certain amount of hours, but even beyond that, it's just like an excuse to be with other people and get to interact with other organizations that you wouldn't normally interact with because of the knowledge that I received about it. I wouldn't have known that some of these nonprofits existed without like my sorority sisters like telling me like we should volunteer too together. And I'm like, okay, like I'm actually going to pick up trash for Earth Day on Earth Day, so I'm excited about that.
Very cool.
And I guess a lot of my volunteering has been through my student organization, Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers. And I guess one thing we really like to do is kind of go out and maybe go to science museums or work with high school students on maybe like robotics or virtual reality, or maybe even bouncing bubbles on like a little piece of fabric. I think it's a lot of fun to see what there is to see in the Twin Cities, and I would not have heard about those opportunities had I not gotten involved in student groups.
Yeah, student groups as well. Part of the Environmental Student Association on campus, and we've done a plastic bag recycling project. We've done outreaches to schools, river cleanups. So there's tons of different opportunities to get involved and just kind of help out and feel good.
And I will say too, if students are interested in getting involved in the community, as you all have, we do have a center for that on campus. It's called the Community Engaged Learning Center, and there are advisors in that center who will connect you directly with, I think, over 200 different organizations that they have connections with. So if you're ever like interested in something, we definitely have those connections right on campus. And then the Twin Cities just has a lot going on in terms of nonprofits and volunteering opportunities. But as we're wrapping up pretty soon here, you are thinking about graduating. And the question's been brought up, can you graduate early? And what does that look like? And I know Nora has some experience with that.
Sure, yeah, and I am graduating a year early, so this is my third year at the U, and I'd say I think it works out pretty well. I actually was able to do that through AP credits. If you go online and you kind of search up, I'd say like UMN AP credit transfer, I think that's what popped up for me. And you'll probably find that a lot of the AP classes you took kind of come in with maybe 3 credits apiece, 6 if you're doing chemistry and got like a 4 or 5. And for me, I was able to enter with 41 credits. And I think what I liked about that was it gave me a lot of a chance to look around and try out some classes that I did want to do, like self-defense. There's a lot of good PE classes here. Mm-hmm. And I'd say it's completely possible. So if you have those AP credits on hand or like dual enrollments or something like that, give it a shot. You'll never know what will come through.
Great, thanks. And a big question here to all the students listening and viewing right now, what kind of advice would you have for them if you were in their shoes right now? For students entering college.
Students entering college. Well, I guess as a joke one, do prepare some really good hiking shoes because you'll be doing a lot of walking around campus in mailman weather, so rain, shine, snow. I'd also say if you can, maybe explore the website, visit the campus if possible too. There's a lot of, the U has a lot of resources, and I mean, it would be kind of a shame if you didn't get like a chance to see what there was to see. So I'd say maybe do a bit of research before coming in. That's something I wish I did a little more of as a freshman.
I'd say explore the Twin Cities. It's such a cool area, so many cool things to see, and try something new. Definitely try. I played hockey all 4 years of high school. That was a huge part of my life, and I came here and I joined the cycling team, and that's something I do now religiously. So, buddy of mine joined the ballroom dancing team. So whatever you want to do, try it. If it looks interesting, give it a shot. You never know what can happen. So it's great.
Yeah, I would just say get involved, especially for out-of-state students. It's a very easy way to make the college campus a lot smaller. Like, I see people I know probably every time I leave my apartment just from like welcome week, my sorority, other clubs through my major and stuff like that, and it makes me feel a lot more homey.
That's great. And speaking of, finding a home basically on campus, what made you choose the University of Minnesota as out-of-state students from pretty far away? And what are you taking away from your experience so far as students?
Yeah, so this is actually the only out-of-state school I applied to. Wow. My dad went here and he grew up here, so he made me apply, and I was like, no, Dad, I'm not going to California, that's silly. But then after seeing what college I got into, I ended up deciding that this was the best school for me, and then I even went into it kind of nervous, but I'll be leaving California, I don't want to leave, this is the best state ever. But then after coming here, I've definitely opened up to seeing that it is fun to live in a different state, even if it is completely different. It's very cold here, but it's worth it. I loved going to college here. And I actually was thinking of maybe moving to Arizona after college, just because I was now okay with the idea of not staying in California. So yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, I guess I chose to go to the University of Minnesota because at first I kind of applied through it. I kind of applied to it because I was applying to a bunch of colleges, but then when I looked into the programs more, I figured out that they had a really, really good niche for biology. I mean, they're one of the few campuses out there with the College of Biological Sciences, and they had genetics, which I really, really wanted. And I guess I really enjoyed the research opportunities here, and the atmosphere kept me here through all 3 years, even if I wasn't a huge fan of the ice on the ground.
One of the reasons I came here is just because it was different, somewhere different to go. The school spirit was awesome. I was really, really happy with how beautiful the campus was, with how close it was to the cities. I don't think there's too many schools like that in the country. And ever since I got here, I've just been nothing but happy when it comes to how impactful this has all been on my life. Going somewhere different and going to the University of Minnesota, it's the cultural epicenter of Minnesota. And people here, they're rooting for you throughout the entire state. They want to see you succeed, and you get here and you realize how important this university is to the rest of the state. And then you go home and you're like, that's my school, that's my state. There's a lot more pride than just the maroon and gold when you come here. So Really been happy with my choice, and hope you guys make the same one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I just want to say thank you to all of our panelists. You guys have been great in providing us a little more, very firsthand insight into what it is to be a student at the University of Minnesota. And I will just end this event with a little bit of information since we are getting close to the May 1 deadline. Just a reminder to all those students that our confirmation deadline is May 1st. You can submit your confirmation fee via internet, so online, or send it into the Office of Admissions. Just needs to be in by May 1st to confirm your spot at the University of Minnesota. Same goes for our housing application. If you want to choose your residence hall, you can definitely do so before confirming enrollment. And you need to do that before May 1st as well, and you're guaranteed a spot to live on campus. And as students here are, making their final decisions and, thinking about a lot of details about their college experience, you're probably going to have a lot of questions. So my name is Allie, like I said before, and we all at the Office of Admissions are committed to helping students like you through the college search process. It's our job. So definitely feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you have, and we would be more than happy to connect with you. But thank you again for joining us tonight. Go Gophers, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.